Plot twist. Still alive! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Plot Twist, Still Alive! I am your hostess with the mostest, 3-time cancer survivor and chaos coordinator, Crystal with a K. What's up, bitches? Oh my gosh. You guys, we are celebrating tonight. I decided to bring a little bubbly because you're coming along with me. We are officially at episode 35. Still alive is what I'm calling it. And we are halfway through my 40th year of life. This is a really big deal for me. But before we go any further, I gotta pop this shit open because we're celebrating. Do epic shit. Yes, please. This entire episode is actually going to be about doing epic shit, doing a fuck it list, seeing what I checked off, seeing what I haven't, and hopefully it inspires you to continue living your life to the fullest. And if you haven't started one yet, to get your shit together and get it going, because ultimately life is not fucking promised. Tomorrow's not promised. And I don't think it takes a cancer diagnosis for you to figure that out. So I'm going to pop this open. Also, this is a judgment-free zone, okay? And I've been doing summer shit, mom shit. And so what didn't survive, what's not still alive is my fucking manicure. I'm getting it fixed, but we listen and we don't judge. Okay, motherfuckers? All right. Hold on one second. I haven't done this in a while, and these always scare me. So crazy. I just walked into the Walgreens, and they had this there yesterday, and I was like, I'm fucking buying that. If that is not the champagne gods telling me this is what I'm supposed to have tonight. All right, let's see if I fuck this up. Are you ready? Here we go. I did it. Hold on. Let me pour a glass. Did you want some? I'm going to pour you a glass too, okay? Can't drink by yourself. Hold on one second. All right. Cheers, bitches. So I decided to do this episode solo. And I think it's because I have done one mini episode when I was on vacation solo because I was enjoying my birthday trip, which we'll actually talk about. But I also haven't pushed myself to do a solo one. I'm really great at banter, but part of the fuck it list is about pushing past your boundaries, pushing past your fears. And I figured I can fucking talk to people all day and somebody's going to be watching this. So I'm not talking to myself. So it's great. But I also wanted a more intimate setting so you guys could get to know me a little more. Ultimately, if you've been listening, you may not have started with the episodes that don't have video yet. And so I want to talk a little bit about my life and why a fuck it list is so important, where it started, and what I'm hoping to accomplish before I turn 41. If you've been on my social media or listened to any of my podcasts, you already know I've had cancer 3 times. There was a time in my life where my parents didn't know if I was going to make it to 3 years old. And I didn't know if I would see 33 years old. And then a couple of years ago, I didn't know that I would see 40. So 40 was a huge fucking year for me. And over the last couple of years, since my 3rd diagnosis, but even before that, I've always really wanted to live life to the fullest. And that looks different for different people. But for me, I want to push my limits. I want to experience as much as I can. Over the last couple of years, this is including jumping out of a perfectly good fucking airplane, taking a sour toe shot, and yes, we're talking some Hannibal Lecter type shit. Hiking to one of the most beautiful places on the planet at 40 years old with my crusty, rusty, dusty knees, and even starting this podcast and telling complete fucking strangers way too much shit about my life and oversharing. But here we are, 35 episodes in, so clearly we're doing something right. So welcome and cheers to the halfway point of my 40th year. My goal is by the end of this year, January 24th, 2027, I will have marked all of these off and get to continue and do the next fuck it list because it's never ending for me. Hold on, let me take a little sippy sip. Oh my gosh, that is extremely bubbly. Like I heard the bubbles in my ears. That's wild. I'm wondering if you can hear it because I hear it in my headset. Tell me if you can hear it. Ready? It's like the 4th of July. So why did I make a fuck it list? I think when people hear the words fuck it list, they just assume because the F word is my favorite word, that's why I have it. And you're not fucking wrong, but it's not just a bucket list with cussing. Sure, there's a lot of things on the list that I intentionally wanted to do, like traveling solo, hiking to Havasu Falls. But a fuck it list is way bigger than that. It's about choosing to say yes. Yes to the adventures, yes to the scary things, yes to the opportunity that wasn't part of the plan. The biggest thing that I've learned is that even surviving cancer, it wasn't fucking planned, but I did it. It's taught me so many things, including that life's best plot twists, get it, are never planned. They're the craziest of stories. They're the last minute fucking decisions. They're the people you never expected to meet. I have so many people I've met on vacations that I'm still friends with now. And a lot of times they're the opportunities that you would normally talk yourself out of because you're afraid, because you're scared. If a bucket list embraces the adventure that you chose and also the beautiful chaos that life throws at you, that's what the bucket list is truly about. So if you don't have one, hopefully by the end of this episode, you will. Where did it all start? Like I said, having cancer 3 times definitely makes you hyper fucking aware of the ticking clock over your head, especially when your life revolves around treatment, scans, going to the doctor, waiting to figure out what the next treatment is, having to grow your hair back after chemo, waiting until you feel well enough to do something or physically capable. So much time has been taken from me as a breast cancer survivor and as a childhood cancer survivor. So many years of my life have revolved around all of those medical treatments and were taken, and I can't get that time back. So for me, I truly live for these moments, for the bucket list moments, for the trips. And now that I've decided to do this and I'm not allowing cancer to be what I measure time with, I've decided to do it by measuring it with adventures instead. So my first bucket list was actually with my girl, Jen. I always talk about her. If you've listened to any of the episodes, then you know who she is. She's an incredible friend that I met during my hardest part of breast cancer back when I was 32. And I was doing chemo. You can go back and listen to the episodes and more about her. But ultimately, she's the one that gave my cancer purpose. She had a beautiful nonprofit that I helped work for. I saw this bright light that just shined and took all of these trips and said yes to fucking everything. And I was like, whatever she's doing, I need to be part of. So on top of giving my cancer purpose through the nonprofit and showing me that the shittiest thing in your life can have purpose if you allow it to, she also pushed me out of my comfort zone. We did a lot. And all of them I said yes to because I wanted to, with the exception of one. And just so you know, a lot of these are going to be already covered in our bucket list episodes, but we didn't have video yet. So if you want to hear the whole story of it, I'm not going to go over all of it again, but I'm going to give you some specifics. I was jumping out of a fucking plane. Never ever in my life did I want to do that. In fact, I'm afraid of flying. Flying and cockroaches. Those are the 2 things I'm afraid of. And we were having an event for the organization. People were buying jumps for warriors. That was how we were raising money. It came with like a package with video and pictures and all this shit. And I was like, cool. I'm just be there to run it for the day and help. And my daughter was doing like a bake sale. It was great. Well, Jen tells me, hey, there's a couple extra for the warriors. They didn't end up coming. We don't want them to go to waste. And I'm like, Jenna, I don't want to jump. I don't want to do it. And she pulls her fucking stage 4 cancer card out on me. And she's like, listen, bitch, I'm pulling my cancer card. She had already jumped out of one time, I think in Florida. But she was like, you need to do this at least once. And I was like, fuck, like I had to do it. It was the most terrifying experience next to cancer of my life. I hated every second of it. I could barely talk. And if you know me, I'm a mouthy bitch. So like me not being able to speak and they're trying to take this video asking me all these questions about how excited I am. And my butthole is clenched so tight. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you about this. I just want to get this shit done. I did it. Go back to our bucket list episodes and you can listen about the entire experience. But I met her on the ground a little while later. And she actually almost didn't do the jump she was doing because she got scared. And she did know what to expect. I did not. And when she got down there, she told me, oh, I almost didn't jump because I got scared. And I was like, bitch, I would have been pissed if you made me jump out of this plane and you didn't fucking do it. But that was the last year of her life. And I'm so grateful that she made me do that because I was fucking terrified and I did it anyway. And that is truly what life is about. Doing the shit you're scared to do. We have to do it in everyday life. This is no different, except you get to kind of pick and choose because scary shit happens in real life. Like I said, cancer, disease, death, all of these things happen. So I was very grateful for that memory and very grateful that she pushed me. We even used to say like, live like Jen, or we're going on a Jen venture. And so as it progressed, I heard bucket list somewhere and I was just like, you know what? That's my thing. I want to have a bucket list. So that's where it all started. And this year, especially after all that I've been through and 40 being a big year anyhow, I was committed to actually check this shit off. We're going to start. There's 5 that I've done and there's several that I haven't, and we'll talk about those in a little bit. But starting off at lucky number 5 is starting this podcast. I initially had done a podcast with Jen and my soul sister Stacy. There's only 3. It's called Finding Your Best Selves. We didn't know what we were doing, and this was in like 2020. So our sound is horrible. I knew I was not techie. Jen just bought the shit, was like, let's do it, because it was COVID and we were trying to be able to find a way to meet with people. So I had a taste of it, and I always enjoy public speaking and interacting with people. I really wanted to do it again, and I kept saying, I'll do it with Stacy or I'll do it with another person, but I kept putting it off. And I realized that if I kept doing that, I was never going to start it. And the other thing was I was starting to go crazy because I had left my job with the organization and I was trying to be a stay-at-home mom, but I still needed something that helped people and that I could just in general talk to a fucking adult person for an hour or an hour and a half. And that's kind of how it started. And of course, my ride or die, Sarah, she believes in me. She thinks I can fucking do anything. I could be an astronaut. I could go to space. You know, she just believes in me. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Talk to my husband. We bought all of the stuff. I had to do a lot of research to figure out what I needed. I'm the least tech savvy person on the planet. So it took me, 3.5 months to like figure out everything. It honestly felt like too daunting of a task to start with video, and I just was not confident with it. So the first episode, I decided to tell my story, Frankentitties, about my breast cancer because I knew for a fact that that had helped people because I had talked about it at a lot of different events. But I didn't want it to only be about cancer because there are so many other hard things in life and we don't have to compare hard shit. I don't know what it's like to have a child diagnosed with a disease. I don't know what it's like to have a chronic illness. I don't know what it's like to lose a spouse. There are so many things I don't know, but I wanted people to have an outlet or a platform to speak on because ultimately it was all about connection and giving others hope. And of course, for me, dark humor is a huge coping mechanism. So I was like, we got to fucking use that in the podcast. I looked up different names. At first, I think I actually wanted to name it, but did you die? But I was like, I don't know if I could trademark that. I mean, that's on The Hangover real heavy. I don't know if they're going to let me have that one. Sorry, I'm sipping some bubbly. Ooh. And I looked it up and I couldn't tell if it was taken or not. But then I just kept looking up these other things and Plot Twist was taken, but Plot Twist Still Alive was not. And I was like, fuck it, I'm moving on it. So I bought the domain for it. I knew what I wanted the logo to look like. And yes, don't hate me. I did use AI for it. I'm sorry. I use AI occasionally, but it was a simple thing and I knew exactly what I wanted and it wasn't like AI just make it for me. Like I had to go through a ton of description to get it done. Anyway, that's how we ended up with this right here. And I loved it. I wanted bright colors. I wanted dark humor. I'm a big horror fan, so I wanted to use like references and make it creepy and campy and fun and be able to like joke about the hardest shit because again, being able to laugh about it and finding humor in it and ultimately giving hope on this is how I'm still fucking standing, that is where so many people can get something from. I knew making it and creating this, it was not going to be for everybody. I curse like a fucking sailor. I say inappropriate shit. I am not PC. And I know not everyone is going to enjoy this type of podcast, but it's not for everybody. It's for people that do have dark humor, that have seen hard shit, that do want to find ways to laugh, that do need hope. So Sarah believed in me. I went up to her house. We did the first episode of Frankentitties. I actually had to record it fucking twice. And we made a joke because she was in my last episode about how every single time we do a podcast, something ends up getting fucked up. And sure enough, that happened. We had to re-record Frankentitties because it got so messed up. And then I wasn't recording for half of the time because I was brand new at using my shit. Setup was taking me like an hour and a half. Honestly, setup still takes me a few minutes, but I finally have figured out how to use most of my shit. With the exception of recently, I moved over to these because the headphone, like I want to have cute hair and shit, right? And I had to buy this little thing that it adapts. And I had that on and then it died in the middle of my podcast recently with Wesley. And I'm like, fuck, how am I going to... What am I going to do? What happened? I didn't know what happened. And just the headphones wouldn't work. And I'm like, fucking technology. No, I had to charge it. That's all. Just fucking plug it in, Crystal. That's it. It's electric. Do, 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 do. Anyway, so, and that got a really great response. So Frank and Titties, my first episode, got a great response. If you have not listened to it, again, we don't have video, but it's great for the car. You'll probably learn a lot about me, and all of this, you're going to learn a lot about me, but I do think it paints a really good picture of what this podcast is. And I got a great response. And then I even had people reach out, like family members or friends I haven't talked to in literal years, saying, I listened to your podcast. It was incredible. As I continue to release things, that's what I was getting. At least one or two people, every podcaster reaching out saying, hey, this meant something to me, or this made me emotional, or this made me feel seen. And I'm like, cool. Then that's what this is about. So it's never been about making it a business or creating a business, though. That'd be really fucking cool. Wheat Thins, we're still looking for sponsors. Or what am I drinking tonight? Brown Family Vineyards with Do Epic Shit. Your bubbly's fantastic. And if you want to sponsor me, that was your freebie right there. So Brown Family Vineyards. It's like 4th of July in your mouth. That's what she said. So that's basically how it started. And since then, it's really evolved. Obviously, we have video now, and that was just me finally biting the fucking bullet and deciding to do it, even though I knew it wasn't going to be perfect. That's the hard thing, I think, for a lot of people. And for me with the podcast, it was really hard to put something out that wasn't going to be perfect. Learning how to edit. And I wish I had done video from the beginning now, because honestly, what I learned was what I use is Riverside, and it's so much fucking easier to edit. I was editing in GarageBand. I joined a podcast Facebook. Like, I was lost on how to do all this. I learned a lot the hard way, trial and error. But ultimately, I think this is a good point to make. Everybody wants to wait until it's perfect to start. Just start. Start. It doesn't have to be perfect. Life's not perfect. Nothing's going to be perfect. In fact, you being human is probably the best part about it. Everything you do, even if you fuck up, you're going to learn from. So whatever that idea is, that project is, that is a fuck it list thing. Like, if you really want to do something, just fucking do it. Life is too short to keep putting it off and waiting till it's perfect. It's never going to be. So just fucking do it, man. I can't say like Nike, because unless they want to sponsor too. But yeah, so that's basically how it started. I've had some really incredible guests. A lot of my friends had some things, and then finding out through the podcast that some of my other friends had some crazy shit, like Aaron, who had a brain tumor, or my friend Abby, who was in a very abusive relationship and I could relate to. And then I started getting some social media friends, and I just wanted to continue making different types of episodes, because we talk about a lot of heavy shit. And yeah, even if we use dark humor, there's a lot of emotion for me, even as a host, to hear all of it. It's a lot. So I needed something to break that up. So the Fuck It List episodes are that. They're talking about just embracing life and living it to the fullest, right? A lot of times Drew is my partner in that. And my goal is that hopefully I will get new people to want to be partners and go do Fuck It List shit with me, or suggest Fuck It List things and say, hey, I've got this person that does paranormal things and we can go stay in the haunted house. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go, say less. So I'm really looking to have more adventures and potentially have them with even random people that I'm meeting and have them on the podcast, because that's the goal, is just to do everything and meet new people. Oh, right before I did video, all my shit's kind of creepy and spooky and horror vibe. I was getting a lot of different horror authors as friends on Instagram, and I really enjoyed talking to William Sterling. He is a horror author and he wrote a book. And I'm like, what if I started doing a master of plot twists? Essentially, just an extension of the Fuck It List. Like, somebody who does something that most people never do or are afraid to do, and they actually fucking do it to the point where they're successful in it. So he wrote a book. He's written multiple books, and I had him on, and it was just really cool to pick his brain, regardless of what you're writing a book about. The fact that this man made a career out of it, and he even admits the beginning, like, my first book was fucking garbage, it was trash. It was just such a cool experience, because I want to write a book one day. And then that kind of evolved, and I've done a couple of master of plot twists, including with my Perky Girls, where I got my ask me about my nipples, my nipple tattoos. I already knew those beautiful women, but I thought, what a cool opportunity to show breast cancer warriors what to do, but also show that these women had a dream, had an idea, and created an entire fucking business around advocating for breast cancer warriors, and are now successful and have been around for 5 years. Shout out to Crystal with the C and Courtney with the C. Love you, girls. I've had a lot of really incredible people. It's not always glamorous. I had Lauren on, and she talked about giving a family member a liver because they were an alcoholic, really heavy things. But I know that not everyone can relate to every single episode, but I think the thing we all have in common is that we're all human beings. And ultimately, that's why I hope that people continue to listen. But as long as someone gets something out of it, I hope to continue to do this for a long time. Creating this, having no tech experience, figuring all of that out, it made me realize like what I'm truly capable of, and that if I want to do something and I put my mind to it, I'm going to be able to do that. And sometimes I forget, but this reminded me who the fuck I am and what I can actually do, along with, again, a lot of support from my husband and my bestie, my ride or die, Sarah, and several other people. I love all of my guests. Thank you guys for being part of this, coming on and talking about your story, because it's really hard to be vulnerable sometimes. It's been very cool to have them tell me it's been therapeutic and to trust me with that. So I can't wait to see what the future holds for this. And I would like to tell all of you also, as of today, we are only 500 downloads away from 5,000. So please tell your friends, your daughter, your sister, your lover, your Sancho on the side. Like, tell whoever, send this episode to somebody, or, just share it, because sharing is caring, okay? God. Oh my God, Becky. I'm really hoping to hit 5,000. My goal was to keep the podcast going for at least a year, and I started in October of last year. I feel like I'm on track for that. I'm not a fucking quitter. I will just do this and talk to myself and do puppet shows and shit if that's what I need to do, or weird voices. I would love to continue helping tell people stories as well. And, I thought I was just starting a podcast, but plot twist, I ended up really creating an entire community, and it's been very fucking cool. So love you guys. Thank you guys so much for supporting, and thank you to all of my guests who've been on. Coming in at number 4 is my solo trip to the Dominican Republic. So I, as a 40-year-old woman, I have to drink when I say that because I look 35, but have never, ever been on a vacation by myself. And it didn't dawn on me until I was talking to some other friends about it. My girl Stace, my soul sister, she had been on this incredible trip a few years ago. And while I am an adventurous bitch, I know my limits. She went on like a excursion that was essentially camping and shit at different parks for I think 2 or 3 months. She actually has a blog about it now you should check out, and I will have her on probably a Fuck It List episode to talk about it and share her photos and her experiences. Like I said, I know my limits. I like camping, but I need to go with someone that knows how to start a fire, that knows how to do all the shit, because that's not me. I can help, but I'm not the fucking mountain man or any of that shit. So I was just in a weird funk. This was in April. And a lot of stuff was happening around me, and I was feeling very overwhelmed. And I think a lot of people have those points where they hit a breaking point, and I was like, I can either lose my fucking mind or just go on a vacation. So essentially, I picked that one. I said, I'm going to just go on a vacation. Very impromptu. I'm not exaggerating. I got on the computer. I looked, it was like 2 days. First, I looked up places that are safe for female travelers to go solo. And a Dominican Republic was one of them. And I was like, you know what? I've never been to the Dominican, because that was the other thing. I wasn't going to go somewhere I'd already went. It named several other places in the U.S., but I had already been to several of them. And I'm like, I want to do something different. Next thing I did was jumped on Expedia, and I looked for affordable, but I wanted to go to like a family resort because I'm a married woman. I'm taken. And I was just going there to truly just to be by my fucking self and to do something that I have never done before. And I found a trip on Expedia, flight and room for, I think it was $1,500 for 5 days. And I was like, fucking done. So I booked it. I got all anxious booking, and I'm like, am I sure? Do I want to do this? And so I did. And I am so fucking glad I went on that trip. I was scared because I hadn't ever traveled alone. Like, I've been in a car on a road trip, but always going to see somebody. I never had been for days and days. So that was very scary for me. I hate fucking flying. I will do it solo, and I have done it solo, but I don't enjoy it. But I actually have my meds. So I took my meds and I was good. But this has happened twice now. There was a medical emergency on the second plane. And because I'm taking anxiety meds, I'm fucking loopy. I'm out of it. I can barely wake up to walk from one place to another. It was actually towards the end. We were about to land. We weren't in the Dominican. I think we were landing in Dallas or somewhere. And they're like, do we have anybody medical? Do we have a doctor on the flight? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh God, here we go. Well, they're letting everyone off the plane. So I'm assuming, okay, we're good. And so then I'm walking through And I see this gentleman to the left with his wife and all of the stewardesses around. And I'm like, fuck. They're still trying to get him help and nobody has helped. I was at the back of the plane, by the way. So like they had waited until all these people had went through. So I go up. I always tell them, because this has happened a couple times now. I'm like, hey, I took anxiety meds. I was a nurse. I can't do much. They have like a blood pressure cuff that checks his pulse and all of that. So they start telling me what's going on. And he's very clammy and sweaty. They said that he went to pass out and his blood pressure was super low. Then it jumped up and now it's kind of regulated. I looked at it, it was a normal range. And I'm just like, do you have any heart problems? Like going down the list of questions that you asked. You have blood pressure issues. And he's like, no, no, no. I'm like, has this happened before? And he's like, yeah, another time I was flying. And then I started thinking and I'm like, did you have to go to the bathroom around that time? I'm not a doctor. And I always say that too, because people think because you're a nurse, you can fucking tell them exactly what that mole is on their back or if it's cancerous or not. No, motherfuckers, we cannot. I don't have anything. I don't have blood work in front of me. I have no idea. I can just say, I think it might be this or it could be this, but I'm not a doctor. He goes, I needed to use the restroom. And I actually went to the restroom. And then right after I came out, I passed out. And I said, what about the last time? And he said the same. He was needing to go to the bathroom and bearing down. And I'm like, it sounded as if it was like a vagal response. And I don't know if the altitude made the pressure. I don't know. But that's what it seemed like. And I just told him, you need to go see your doctor when you get a chance. Or how are you feeling now? I didn't want to leave until he was okay. At that point, EMS shows up and I'm like, cool, fuck yeah, I'm off this plane. He was so nice to me and he said, thank you so much. And I left. But I don't know how this keeps happening. And I'm not even actively a nurse. I have a license, but like I haven't touched a patient in years now. But I think I made him feel a little better. I felt a little better once I knew he was like, okay. Anyway, so I get on my other plane and I get to the Dominican. And then, of course, as soon as I get there, my fucking card isn't working and I'm trying to book an Uber. So when I went to Costa Rica, the Ubers were illegal. I looked it up. They're not in the Dominican, but the fucking taxi drivers, I'm going out and they're literally like coming up to you like, oh, you'll need a taxi. You'll need a taxi. I'm like, no necesito, no gracias. And they look at my phone and see I'm trying to order an Uber and they're like, oh no, you need to come with me. They don't come here. And blatantly fucking lying to me. And it says the Uber is like 3 minutes away and it's 3 times cheaper than what I would pay for a taxi. And I'm just like, man, no, I'm going and getting in this Uber. And he's like, oh, they don't come here. I said, okay, well, I'll come back if I need to. So I go past them. My card isn't working. So I immediately get on the phone with my husband and I'm like, oh my God, I'm a 40-year-old, like calling dad saying like, can you check my credit card? And of course, because I was out of country randomly, on a fucking whim, that's something you have to do is tell the bank so they don't think it's a fraudulent charge. So he got it cleared up and I was able to get an Uber. Again, I'm in a new country. I don't get that scared of stuff. My Uber driver was very nice, spoke mostly English, and I speak enough Spanish, as we've talked about. So I felt pretty comfortable. And then I get to the resort, and it's fucking beautiful. There's a ton of resorts where you're at. I went to Punta Cana, which is very touristy. It's like the Disney World of Dominican. But the beaches are absolutely stunning, breathtaking, but there was a slew of resorts there. And so I ended up picking a family one, as I said, for safety reasons, but also because I don't need to go to like a singles one. Again, as married now. The check-in process was super, super easy. They tram you over with your stuff and your bags over to your room. I got there at like noon and they still let me check in, which I love. I absolutely love. They bring you like a fucking cocktail. It's all inclusive. Fantastic. Didn't have to be anywhere the whole time. Woke up when I wanted to wake up. So they tram me over to my room. It's almost like an apartment building. I went and I opened it up and they gave me a fucking family suite and it's just me. The mom guilt hits me, horse kicks me in the fucking face. And I just feel guilty instantly because there's like 2 bunk beds with like a pullout with a separate bathroom, separate space. And then I go in, there's a door and everything that locks, go into my room. There's no window, which is lovely because it's just pitch black at night, and another bathroom and shower and a fucking king size bed. And I'm just like, wow. I came here thinking I wanted to have some alone time. And I hadn't been alone in 4 years since I've had the baby, really. And even before then, like I've had the kids or I've had the husband. I have not been alone with my own thoughts. And I immediately felt guilty. And I was like, I don't even bring my kids. So I was like, how is that going to make me feel? I'm not going to feel better. You know what, Will? A mojito and a walk on the fucking beach. So I literally put my bags on that bunk bed where they stayed the remainder of the time. I didn't even have to unpack. I just opened them on the bunk bed and left them there and went out, and the water was breathtaking. Costa Rica was incredible too, but this water was so blue. It was magical. And of course, I had a mojito, walked on the beach in my swimsuit, and I just sat in the sand in the quiet for a little while. While I was there, I only wanted to do like one excursion. It was mostly to just clear my mind, to recenter, and again, do what I want. I called it a night pretty early that night. I went and got into bed. And I knew while I was there, I was going to work on my X series because I had recorded it several weeks prior, but I hadn't like actually done the layout, and I knew I wanted to do a certain way. And it was the first series I was going to put out. I had the opportunity and the time. I would get up at whatever time. I wouldn't even know what time it was, and it didn't matter. I didn't even look at my fucking clock. And I start doing my shit and working on that for a few hours. And I'm like, okay, once I get done with this, I'm going to go out to the pool. So I did that. Day one, I wanted to book this excursion that was almost all day to go to Sayona Island. Wanted to do that. I saw the pictures. I spent under $100, just me, but it's an all day thing. You're on a catamaran. Food is included. There's rum on the boat. You go to 2 separate spots. You get to scuba dive or snorkel. I booked that. And then I went over to the pool, and it was a swim up bar. And there were 2 pools. There was like a family pool right next to my room. And then you walk across, and there was more of like the swim up pool, like the more of the party vibe, lots of music. Go over there, meet a bunch of Canadians. Canadians fucking love all inclusives in the island area. Like, I think I've met more Canadians at the last couple resorts I've been to than anywhere else, and even in fucking Canada. There are more Canadians there than there are in Canada, and I've been to Canada, and I'm actually going to talk about that next. So, are you good on your champagne? Do you need a refill? You good? Okay. More for me. While I'm there, though, talking to random Canadian people, a beautiful woman comes up and she starts talking to me, and her name's Danielle, and her husband's with her, and they're just super sweet people. We're just all having cocktails, having a good time, and we end up meeting at the lounge bar that night and just like chatting and talking, and instant chemistry. There were 2 women from Canada there as well, and a random gentleman from the Carolinas, I believe. It was a great time. Instant friends. But it was also nice because we were all talking, and the Canadian ladies, they were hilarious. They're like, where are you going? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to Sayona Island tomorrow. They're like, by yourself? I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine. I speak Spanish. I've had cancer 3 times. I don't have nipples. And that's always my like, hi, I'm Crystal. I don't have nipples. But now I do. And that's a little sad for me because now pour some out for the nipples. But yeah, when I was talking to them, they were like, oh, we just got ripped off. This guy walked up to us on the island, and he promised us that, but then it got canceled today, so we didn't even get to go, and we were trying to get our money back. So don't buy shit from the people on the island unless it's like maybe like the goods they peddle or whatever. I bought it directly from the staff that worked. It was like a little place that books them through the resort. In Costa Rica, I did purchase it through the guy, but you got to fill people out and see, because for me, the one at the resort at Costa Rica, I knew he was legit. I saw his fucking boat. Like, he had multiple guys were out there with these shirts. I don't know what this guy looked like that they bought him off of. So just be careful of getting scammed. And then she's also like, what if he didn't take us there? Like, they were all nervous for me. And I'm like, listen, I will be fine. The excursion left the next day very early, like 7 in the morning, or early for me. So I got my bikini on, and I went over there, and they shuttled us out on a bus. We stopped at the other resorts on the way out, and we got on this catamaran. I ended up meeting a Brazilian family at my resort, and it was funny because the lady who was the wife, I'm from a fucking German town, and she looked straight German, and that they spoke fluent Portuguese, and the dad, he spoke Spanish and Portuguese. I mean, it's kind of a combination anyway, but I speak Spanish, and it's my Tex-Mex, my Spanglish. But between that, like, we ended up communicating. They had their teenage daughters, like 16. I thought she was a fucking adult because she was stunning, looked like a goddamn model. Even did like swimsuit change while we were there, and I was like, man, I didn't know it was up over at Sayona Island. But we go on this catamaran. We stop at 2 separate spots to snorkel or scuba dive, and then when we get to Sayona, we get a fucking full lunch. It's so good. A Dominican lunch, rice, beans, fucking grilled chicken and pork, salads, all types of shit. And you can eat as much as you want. And they also make fresh pina coladas, but I didn't realize that they were not on the house. And so he made me one in a fucking pineapple, and he's like $20. And I'm like, oh shit, bro. Like, I didn't bring my money. I didn't bring cash because it was cash only. And I'm like, sorry. And so he just took it back. And I was like, fine. It's waste. I thought I could get it on my looks, but whatever. But this island was breathtaking. The water was the bluest I'd ever seen. They had a bunch of people dancing. It was a fucking vibe, like a whole vibe. I highly recommend going there. And I highly recommend taking the catamaran, because I did hear that some of the people that took the speedboat, it was like bouncing them around so much that it was painful. So go there, fucking 1,000 out of 10. Highly recommend. I will be doing it again if I go to the Dominican again. I want to take my family now because I went to that resort and it was really wonderful. I did the buffets every time. I got to read William Sterling's book. We had just released William Sterling's Master of Plot Twist episode. If you have not watched it, it's my first video one. Fucking go check it out and check out his book too. Punk Goes Horror 2. It's actually a sequel, but you don't need to read the first one to read this. And it's all based on metal songs, but made into like horror stories. I was reading on the beach, which I have not done in a long time. I used to love reading. I was an avid reader, loved Stephen King and Dean Koontz. And it was really cool to just like chill and do that and read. One of my favorite ones is actually about drag queens. And they're getting fucking horribly, disgustingly murdered in the alleyways and all before this show. It's really good. I'm not going to ruin it, but that one was great. And a mix of like horror, but a lot of it's funny as well. And it's all tied to like different songs, a lot of songs you may know. So check it out if you're into horror, if you're into metal, or if you just like fucking good books and supporting authors that are awesome. William Sterling, you're welcome. Oh, and William Sterling, on my bucket list, I should add this. I need to add doing like an audiobook. So if you ever need someone to voice your audiobooks, I can do a few different accents, okay? Just shameless plugging left and right. So I ended up getting 2 of my 4 X series episodes completed while I was there. I went on an incredible excursion. I spent a lot of time on the beach, self-reflecting, reading, feeling really comfortable in my own skin with my swimsuit. It's a feat with all of the scars and everything, meeting some incredible people that spoke different languages, getting to use my Spanish. I will go on another solo trip. And now I'm not afraid to do it. And I'm really glad that I did it. But I highly recommend it for solo travelers to go to Punta Cana. And even the guy that was working on the boat, his name was Joe, I believe. He lives there now. He was an American, owned a company for 20 years and then just sold it and made a decent amount. And now he just fucking scuba dives and snorkels every day for fun and lives there in a really nice apartment. And he's like, next time you come down, just stay in like an Airbnb. And I'm like, I will if I'm with my family. Solo trip. I went, plot twist, I didn't die. And ultimately for me, going on that trip wasn't about where I went. It didn't matter that I went to the Dominican. It was about proving that I didn't need to wait to have someone to go with me. I didn't need to wait to start living. All right, coming in at lucky number 3 is the sour toe shot. Now, again, we've covered this in a previous episode, so I'm not going to go into all of it. Almost 2 years ago, right after I finished most of my surgeries for my second breast cancer diagnosis, Drew's amazing family, my Mill and my Phil, took us on this incredible Yukon excursions. It was literally like a planes, trains, automobiles, a boat. We went on a cruise for 3 days, and then we were basically in the Yukon of Alaska and in Canada. And we would fly or take a train back and forth between. Fucking top-notch, top-tier, so fun. Again, we did a Fuck It List episode about this, so you can go back and listen to it. It is not on video. But we saw more wildlife than I have seen in any place, all from the safety of our fucking bus, including a bear from the very beginning, just on the side of the fucking road eating dandelions, and some taurons that were like standing there too. The only animal that we saw in the wild, which is on there, and I'm not going to spoil it, but it was a killer moose, and we did get a little bit of footage before it went rampant and tried to murder us all. I'm being slightly dramatic, but it actually was a scary moment. I've never been more afraid of a herbivore in my entire life. While we were there, again, we're going in the Yukon area between Canada and Alaska. We end up in a place called Dawson City, and it is a tiny town, old gold town. So in Dawson City, there's only like a few things to do. They have one school that every child goes to from kindergarten up to college. They don't have a hospital. Like I'm talking teeny tiny. Everyone knows everyone. You can walk around the block in 15 minutes and that's the town. So they had like a burlesque show. It was very PG-13-ish. There was a day one and then one that was slightly more risque in the evening, which again, both were like PG-13, but fun. We had a good time. And so we went to the day one, and then in between we were talking to our tour guide, and she's like, hey, why don't we go over to the sourdough saloon? We can do the sour toe shot. I've never heard of this in my life. I was like, all right, let's go over there. What is it? Let me give you the lore of the sour toe shot. And this is all true. So in Dawson City, there were 2 brothers. I think they were the Lincoln brothers. Don't quote me on that. But in the 1920s, when Prohibition existed, they were rum runners. And one night, one of the brothers ended up having his foot hurt. So he stuck it in like ice water, like it was freezing. It's in Canada. and ended up getting frostbite on his foot and a necrotic toe. And so the other brother was like, hey, we don't want you to get gangrene. People died of that shit in the 20s. So he went ahead and fucking cut it off, right? And what he did was he took it and put it in alcohol to keep it for whatever reason. I don't know. So then fast forward to the 70s, I think it's 1973, and Captain Dick finds this in a cabin, this necrotic toe in fucking alcohol, and decides, hey, you know what? We're gonna make this a thing. So he takes it to the sourdough bar and they start dropping it in Yukon Jack whiskey, which is actually really sweet, dropping it in there, and people take shots of it. And that's basically how you prove you're got it. Essentially from 1973 until about 2013, they had this fucking from the 20s that they were just continuing to use over and over. And in 2013, a gentleman decided to swallow the fucking toe on purpose, Hannibal Lecter style, like with a little bit of Chianti. And he left town. And then I guess he ended up coming back, though, and saying, like, oops, I'm sorry, I swallowed the toe. But yeah, and so now they have all these rules because I'm like, well, where do they get all these fucking toes? I had so many questions. Where do they get them? Like, people have to give them the toes, and most of these people aren't dead, or they are dead, but like they gave it willingly. Like, they didn't kill somebody for these toes, okay? We're not fucking monsters, all right? So I know you're probably like, this is disgusting, and you're right, it's fucking disgusting. But also, I'm going to do all of the fucking things. The main rules are you have to drink it and it has to touch your lips, but you can't suck on it. But why would you want to, right? I guess there are like people with foot fetishes out there. You can't suck on it, you can't bite it, and you can't swallow it. And if you do, you pay a $2,500 fine. I'm like, well, where are they getting all these toes? People that have medically decided to send them in to the bar, like they know about this, and so they send their toes in. I guess the original Captain Dick, if I'm not mistaken, when he died, it was his wish to donate all of his toes. So they got 5 on it ×2 from Captain Dick. And then I think ultimately they end up with like 24 toes. There are a couple other people that were like athletes that lost their toes in Alaska or in Canada doing some sort of Arctic shit. And again, they lost their toes, so they donated it. So they got roughly 25 toes since 1973. There have been about 130,000 people to date that have taken this shot, and I am one of them. That's right. So when you go, you pay for the shot, pay for the certificate, and I want to say it was like $30 or something, but it's about the experience. We went with a group, so we knew everyone was going to go, but I wanted to go first. My mother-in-law, she was like, absolutely fucking not. I'm not doing it. My father-in-law got on board. He was like, yeah. At first, I think he was a little wishy-washy, but then when I was like, I'm doing it, everyone else was like, okay, we're doing it.
So you can put your drink on there, please.
Yeah, brother.
All right. Are we ready?
Yep.
Let's give her some encouragement. Yeah! All right. You can drink it fast, or you can drink it slow. But your lip must touch this gnarly toe. Only the lip, no teeth, no tongue, certainly no tonsils. You may kiss the toe, become an honorary sourdough.
Give it a kiss.
Oh.
Woo!
Well done. You got it. Well done. Oh. And you went in for seconds. Welcome to the club. Thank you very much.
So did I need to take a shot with a severed toe in it? Absolutely not. Would I do it again? Ask me after another one of these. Gulp, gulp. Okay. So, number 2 on my bucket list that I have done, whale watching in Costa Rica. It was actually my 40th birthday, my birthday trip, and we did this episode pretty recently as well. So you can go back and listen. It is before we had video. But Costa Rica is absolutely incredible. We ended up over near Tamarindo. We had a lot of excursions that we did, including waterfalls, zip lines, all of that. But this was by far not only the coolest excursion I've ever done, but honestly, probably top 5 experiences of my life. Like I said, be cautious of buying trips off of people on the beach. However, we did in Costa Rica. Like I said, the guy was like, you know, he seemed legit. I saw the boat. I was like, all right, cool. And it was almost half of what the resort was charging. So I was like, let's fucking do this. So we went ahead and purchased it through him, and we go out on the boat. And honestly, what we were purchasing was not anything to do with whales. So rewind a little bit. Whenever we were in Alaska, we did actually get to see humpback whales for the first time. And they were probably within 100 yards of us. which seems very close. And we even got to see one jump out of the water. Lots of tails. We saw some off the back of the cruise ship. At that time, I was like, holy shit, this is incredible. I was almost in tears because of how amazing it was. There's just something really special to me about whales and dolphins, that they're just like these intelligent beings. I don't know. I love them. Okay. I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was little, but I get fucking seasick. So there's that. That bucket list item will not be checked off. So we go on this boat, and it's supposed to be seeing turtles. He's going to take us to Monkey Head Island just to look at it. It's just literally a rock shaped like a monkey head. Snorkeling for a little bit, and maybe some dolphins, maybe, right? We go out there. There's all these boats, all these jet skis following stuff. And he's like, hey, maybe they see something. Let's go. So we go ahead and we start following. And I was like, this is awesome. Okay. Well, it is 3 dolphins. That's what I see at first. And then 2 humpback whales breaching and just coming up and going down. And there's like no rhyme or reason to where these things end up. Whenever we were in Alaska, we learned that they'll come up for air a few times. Then when you see their tail do that thing that's like, you know, like waving goodbye. When you see their tail do that, then they're deep diving. But the water there is not that deep. So they're coming back up very quickly. But they'd be popping up over here, over there. There's these beautiful boats chasing them. There's a bunch of people on these jet skis. And I have my phone out and I am losing my fucking shit. And literally, I will play the video because I don't even know how to describe it to you. People on the jet ski. Oh my God. That has to be, oh my God, right between them. Time of their life for the, holy shit.
Yeah.
That man is in the water, y'all.
Wait, what?
Someone was in the water swimming.
Holy shit, Crystal. Oh my God.
Oh my God. I literally am gonna cry.
Whoa!
Yeah! Yeah, clearly you can hear the fucking exhilaration in my voice. I cried. I got to look at that whale in its fucking eye. It was so close to the boat. It is the most insane thing on the planet. And by far, like I said, top 5, maybe top 3 most incredible things I've ever seen in my life. I feel so blessed and so lucky. And I always love this because this has happened quite a bit for me. And I'm like, well, I may be unlucky in cancer, but I'm very lucky when it comes to wildlife. And I truly am. I've had a lot of experiences with wildlife just in the last few years. The guy who was running the tour, he's like, we've never seen anything like this. He recorded it. His guy was recording it too because he'd never fucking seen them that close. Mind blowing. And if I had been on those jet skis, I probably would have shit myself, honestly. Like, I would have needed to clean up on aisle 3. There's no way I would have held my balls and that, but also been super, super excited at the same time. I thought the birthday gift in celebration was going to Costa Rica. Plot twist, it ended up being one of the most incredible experiences of my entire life. It reminded me how small I am in this infinite world and how there's so much out there still to see. So it made me hungry for more. And last, but certainly not least, he was number 1. I gotta say, Havasu Falls, because again, you can go back and watch the episode Drew and I did, but I wanted to add the video in here of what we did. It's about a 10.5-mile hike into the Grand Canyon. You get permits. They're $450 each. You're on Native American land. They own it, but you hike in and hike out and you are on your own. There's no real hospital down there. I mean, you can get a little bit of help, maybe some bandages or something, but if you have an emergency, you're getting yourself out, you have to helicopter out or you have to pay somebody to take you out on a horse. So shit can get real really quick. Do not underestimate this. But I also had initially put Pikes Peak on my bucket list. And I finally was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to get to do that this year. And the altitude thing is another thing you have to train for. And I just didn't think that I would be prepared for that. So this was kind of something I stumbled upon. And again, go listen to the episode. That'll walk you through all of it. But it's a 3-day trip, 10 miles in-ish. You camp at the bottom and then you get to see about 5 waterfalls. And they are this turquoise blue water. It's Havasu Falls or Havasupe tribe. And it's the people of the blue-green water. That's what it translates into. And the pictures don't do it justice. But the biggest thing that I was anxious about was just hiking that much in general. Because overall, while we were down there, I think we did about 45 miles in a 3.5-day period. Because once you get down to the campsite, you're still having to set up. You still have to walk into the campsite, which is over a mile long to find a good site. We went to almost to the very end next to Mooney Falls because you see Havasu when you first walk in. But let me go to the hike. So hiking in, you're going down these really, really steep switchbacks. I'm old again. I've got crusty, dusty, rusty kneecaps, but I was smart and actually bought some knee stabilizers. So it wasn't that bad. And I got the hiking poles, but that's like a mile and a half downhill. And then it's a gradual decline the rest of the time. And you're in the fucking Grand Canyon and it's beautiful and it's scenic. And that is just a reminder. I know you're there to see the waterfalls, but life isn't just about getting to the destination. It's about the journey. It made me slow down and really like focus. We took our son with us, who is 9. He fucking killed it. We have 40-pound packs on our back. The hike is incredible. We started before the sun came up, thank God, because it's about 7.5 miles to get to Supai Village, and then another 2 to 3 to get to the campsite, and then another mile to go to our campsite. And then we had to hike back to get water and back again, so another mile. Overall, I think we did about 13, 14 miles the first day. The second day was going to be Mooney Falls, and I was anxious. I had looked up videos. If you have not looked it up, look it up, but it's one of the most, quote, dangerous hikes because it is a 220 or 200 foot decline and you go through these caves. And then by the time you get out of the caves, you're basically using chain and rocks and you're free climbing down this. And I'm not going to say it's straight up and down, but it's gradual at places and then some are straight up and down. And I was very psyched out. Like my brain, I kept telling my son, if you don't want to do this, we don't have to. But in my head, I think it was truly because I was anxious and I was scared. Even the night before, I had a really fucking hard time sleeping because I was so nervous about doing this and doing this with my son because I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Is this too much? But I was like, I'm going to regret it if I don't do this. Also, I wouldn't be able to see Mooney Falls from the bottom or Beaver Falls or all this greenery that's at the bottom of the hike over there. It's like a 6-mile round trip hike just to do that. I was going to miss out on all of that if I didn't at least try. So I said, fuck it. We're going to try it anyway. And we were lucky enough to have a gentleman that was camping right behind Mooney Falls, and he decided to record us that morning. And the instant that we started, we go into the caves. I usually don't love enclosed spaces, but my son was so confident and so sure that I was like, yeah, I can do this too. I can't be freaked out. I'm going to freak him out. So we start doing that. Drew's the first one, then my son, then me last. And then we get down to the part where it's really just a chain keeping you from falling the fuck off. There's mist spraying. It's wet. And we just trek it down. And we have a video of it. I feel so fucking grateful that we had somebody just stop to take a video because he said he wanted to show his kids. And he came up to us and found us to give us this later that evening at the top. So we make it all the way to the bottom. And I am so fucking happy. I go to the water and I start crying because I'm just like so proud that I did it, that my son did it. And I brought 3 little things with me: a flamingo for Jen, an elephant for our friend Jenny, and then a butterfly for my friend Amanda. And I set them up and I took a picture of them in front of Mooney Falls. I didn't take him out and take a picture of him, but I have my little Jesus with me because they're my good luck charms. And so I packed them in my little day pack. And then we had this amazing fucking hike through this greenery that looks like we're on a fucking another planet, an Avatar or some shit. You would not expect this in the middle of the Grand Canyon. You just think like desert and rock and sand. And then we hiked over to Beaver Falls. It was deep enough for my son to do like cannonballs in, and I just like fell into the water, and we went to all like the couple different levels and chatted with people and talked to people, and we got to go up and down these interesting ladders to do all this. Some of it was kind of sketchy, but it was such a fun, cool, exhilarating hike there and back. I was so worried about the initial Mooney Falls hike that all of the other hike that was so fun and so like adventurous, they left that out. We even saw a ram, and we wouldn't have seen that. And then we get back, we spend a little more time in front of Mooney Falls and just like breathing it all in and processing all of it. And then we decide to climb back up Climbing up was much, much easier. And fun fact, when we were down there, I did wear my hiking boots down and back up because I don't trust sandals. But I have these cheap ass Amazon sandals that are like knockoff Tevas. They don't have any plastic though. It's just like that braided rope, which was really comfortable. I put my fucking wool socks under those, and that's what I hiked in out and back 6 miles in those motherfuckers because there was a lot of water crossings where you're waist deep in water and not one blister on my feet. My son did the same thing. Drew wore tennis shoes, but I highly recommend that. I don't give a fuck how lame or nerdy I looked in my sock sandal situation. A 10 out of 10. Recommend it. Absolutely do that so you can save your feet because then you still have to hike out. And I would say the hike out was definitely the mentally and physically most straining part. We did not carry our packs. We had a mule do it. That was controversial because people don't love them using the mules. I look at it as giving back to the people because they own these mules. So you're paying them, but also it goes back into Havasu or Supe village. So when we got to the top, I was blown away by my son, but I was also so proud of myself at 40 years old for doing something so physically demanding. And don't get me wrong, my whole fucking body hurt. I was walking like John Wayne. I could not sit on the toilet without going, I was in pain, but it was so fucking worth it. I'm so proud of that moment. And I honestly thought that the whole adventure was like getting to the waterfalls, but plot twist, the real adventure was realizing that I was capable of so much more than I knew. So that is what I've accomplished so far. And I have about 6 months to check off all the rest. I'm going to show you the list now. Because what I have still is seeing a show at Red Rocks, which I will actually be doing in the next few weeks. How I've made it 40 years without seeing a concert there is fucking beyond me. A half marathon. Obviously, my body survived more than enough. Let's see if my knees agree. Then it's staying the night in the haunted house. But let me clarify. I really want to do like a paranormal experience while I'm there with investigators because, surviving cancer clearly wasn't scary enough. Another one is a food challenge. I need some recommendations. I'm very nervous about this one because the challenge isn't eating it. It's the fucking hot girl IBS that I'm going to have to survive afterwards that I'm worried about. But we'll deal with that when we get there. Stand-up comedy. Honestly, this one feels like dangerously achievable. I think I'm good. And I live not too far from Austin where they do Kill Tony. I've been considering going and trying. So, I could probably swing that one pretty soon. And then the pterodactyl, which I can also do 2 for 1 when we go to Colorado for Red Rocks because the pterodactyl is actually on the way. Apparently, jumping out of a plane wasn't enough. I now want to sit and be fucking dropped in between a canyon at 100 miles per hour. Whatever. I'm fucking doing it. That's happening in a couple weeks. So I will only have about 5 left. So if any of you have any recommendations for a half marathon that you really enjoy, even if it's not in Texas, because that's more fun for me, somewhere to go try stand-up comedy. If you're a paranormal experience expert and have a podcast and you want to swap, we can do that. Or if you know a place to go do a food challenge, give me your recommendations. Send them to me. I'll give you all my info at the very end. We're almost there. I do still have 2 spots. So I'm asking all of you to send suggestions in. If you have suggestions or recommendations, send it to plottwiststillalive@gmail.com. Or if you have any questions or if you want to be a guest, plottwiststillalive@gmail.com. Check out our website and our blogs as well, because once I start doing these things, I will definitely be putting them on our blog and doing Fuck It List episodes about them. If you want me to join you on your Fuck It List because you're too afraid, fucking contact me. Reach out. We can do this together, boo-boo. Unless it's jumping out of a plane. Don't fucking ask me to do that one, okay? But, short of that, I drank a shot with a dead toe in it, so I'm pretty game for most things. When I made this list, I initially was like, oh, it's about checking the boxes off, right? I was so wrong. I realized for me, it was more about becoming the person that says yes instead of no. Cancer wasn't part of my plan. Starting a podcast wasn't part of my plan. Most of the people that have changed my life were not part of my plan. And that's really the funny thing about life is that the best plot twists usually are not the ones that are planned. They're the ones you almost talked yourself out of. So we did it. I did one by myself, just you and me, baby. Just this intimate little setting with our bubbly, do epic shit. Yes. And I'm going to do a little toast that I wrote down. Are you ready? Here's to the adventures we choose, the chaos we never saw coming, and the stories that remind us we're still alive. Because after everything life throws at you, I've learned the best memories usually start with 2 simple words. Fuck it. Anyway, thank you guys for joining. Please give us a review. We're now on video on YouTube and Spotify, or you can listen on Apple Podcasts and basically where all podcasts are playing. Check out our website at www.plottwiststillalive.com. And if you haven't already, start your own fuck it list because you deserve to live life to the fullest and it's not promised. Cheers, guys. But we got to end this shit the right way. So we're going to do a high five. If you don't fucking put your hand up, let's try this again. You ready? We're going to say it. 3, 2, 1. Even if you're in your car and you're listening, if you're watching, you know the fucking deal. We're going to go 3. We're going to do high five on 3, 2, 1. Ready? 3, 2, 1. High five. Psh, still alive. Now do your evil laugh. It's your turn. You go. Do your laugh. I don't give a fuck if you're in the car. Do your laugh, goddammit. Okay, now it's my turn. Fuck it. Plot twist. Still alive.